Hello, this is ucntkilme, and in this video I'm going to teach you how to scan using the new scanning system and icons. So let's get started, shall we? As you can see, I'm in a little frigate. I'm using a Tech 1 expanded probe launcher with 5 Citrus Core scanner probes. So let's go directly into the map view and launch one probe at 32 AU. When I first start probing in a system, I like to head to the star. That usually gets me to the closest to the center of the system as possible. So I launch one probe at 32 AU and I scan. And I've got one signature. Okay, now this is a rather large signature, and I can't realistically get it any better since core probes stop at 32 AU. So we want to launch the others. And I like to set them up using all 5 like so. As you can see, all of my probes are covering this center point. If I zoom in there, you can see it a little better. So this point is being scanned by every single probe. So now that we have them all out at 32 AU, we're going to reanalyze the system. Okay, and I've gotten it a little bit better. Now you can see it's this red circle right here. So let's move all of my probes over and click on my center probe name just to centralize my view on that probe. Okay, I'm in the center of it that way. I'm in the center of it vertically, and I'm in the center of it this way. So let's drop it down one size and start bringing in my probes again. And then reanalyze. Okay, now as you can see, I've got it even better. It's still a red square, but it's or a red circle, but it's still a rather small red circle. So we move my probes over, and to move them all at once you just press and hold shift while you drag on the arrows. We want to get it as close to center as possible, which I've done, and now drop it down one more size to 8 AU. Move my probes in again. And reanalyze. Okay, now it comes up twice, but as you can see, they're relatively close to each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my probes down just a little bit and then move them so that they're in the center of the two. So now they're in the center of the two. I'm not going to drop the size down yet. We're just going to reanalyze from here. Sometimes when you get them in the split like that, you may have to choose whether you want it up or down. If they're real close to each other, you can just cover them and reanalyze. But if they're kind of far away from each other, then you will have to choose whether you want to scan on the upper one or the lower one. And if it comes up no signatures detected, then you want to scan, bring them to the opposite end and reanalyze there and see. And sometimes they'll disappear in the middle of scanning. So now we've got one red dot. So let's drop this down to 4 AU. And I want to move my probes so that the red dot is directly in the center of my red square. And that's about as close as I'm going to be able to get on that. So now, don't want to move them all. Now we'll bring in all my probes so that every single probe is covering the red dot and the entire square. And hit reanalyze. Now it's moved a little bit, but I've got a higher signal strength. So we're going to move it again. Drop it down one more. And make sure all my probes are covering. Okay, and I want to click on my center probe and zoom in. Make sure all of them are covering, and now I can move them out just a little bit. There we go, that'll work. And analyze again. One thing about scanning, you're going to be analyzing a lot. Once you get into using like a Sisters expanded probe launcher and Sisters probes, and you're using other stuff, you'll learn you get your skills up, it'll go a lot faster. Using Tech 1 equipment, using a Tech 1 frigate, it's fairly hard. Covert ops are definitely the way to go with scanning. So now we've got it, and this thing that I'm scanning down just happens to be of group type unknown. Now this could be a couple of things. It could be a DED complex, or it could be a wormhole. And you'll see that my icon has changed, and it's now this little yellow arrow thing pointing down. So we go to it with my center probe, click on that name. Okay, and we're good to go on that. So now let's drop it down to 0.5 AU. And scan, bring them in, bring them in, bring them in, and zoom. Just a few modifications to the location of all my probes, and analyze again. And there we go. I have an unstable wormhole at 100%, and that is scanning at its best. I hope you've learned something. If you have any questions, please let me know.